Alright guys, so today's product I'm technically not supposed to review until next week, but I don't really consider my videos reviews because I consider it that I'm just telling you guys about products that I enjoy. So that's what we're going to do today, and we're going to talk about 1More's brand new EVO true wireless earbuds. And what these are technically is 1More's attempt at going straight at the big boys when it comes to earbuds. I mean, they're going for Sony, they're going for Sennheiser, they're going for Bowers & Wilkins. In fact, they sent a spreadsheet that's comparing these specs from this earbud to all of those different models. So we're gonna talk about all of those different specs. We're gonna check out all the stuff that comes inside the box. We're gonna talk about the price and a bunch of different things and see how well it competes against a lot of those. So to start with, let's go ahead and talk about the price. Now these do come in at 169 bucks, but they are offering an early bird special. Again, these come out on May 10th, and they're also throwing in a $30 Qi wireless charging pad. So they're taking $30 off the price, so you can pick them up for 139 bucks. You get a wireless charging pad with that as well. And when you start to already compare price-wise to the Sonys, which are $280, the Sennheisers, which are $300, and the Bowers & Wilkins, which I don't really know, but I'm gonna assume is over $300, there's already a significant gap. Now, if you are looking at buying these, they do come in two different colors. I have the black version here, but it's also available in white, and both models are trimmed in gold. So what makes this pair stand out? Well, these are using hybrid drivers, so it has a 10mm dynamic driver that they are pairing up with a balanced armature driver. So they're letting the dynamic driver handle all of your low end, while having the balanced armature driver handle more of your mids and your treble. So it's trying to keep everything separated, but allowing you to get the most out of each one. Now, as far as some of the technology, these do have Bluetooth 5.2. This pair is high-res audio certified because it is LDAC compatible. Now, this is something that the Sonys have. LDAC is a higher-end Bluetooth codec, so if you have a device that is LDAC compatible, you definitely will be able to get the most out of these. Now, this does work with 1More's app, and I do feel like 1More's app is kind of limited. There's a lot of things that it doesn't let you do, but 1More does work with Sound ID, which is basically a feature where it takes you through a listening test, where you tell it that you prefer sound A over B or vice versa, and it tries to give you an EQ setting based off sounds that you like. And there is a night and day difference between this sound and the sound that they have out of the box. So really everybody's sound is going to be a little bit different. Now, I do wish that the app just let you EQ some things on your own, but they're kind of pushing this Sound ID feature. So I think that's kind of why they strip away some of the EQ settings. Now, also within the app, you can go in and switch around some controls, but there's very limited capabilities of doing this. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. And you also have the ability to update your earbuds and then also turn these smart sensors on and off or change what the smart sensors do. So if you want it to pause when you take it out but not resume when you put them back in, you can do that. Or you can have it resume when you put them back in, or you can just shut them off altogether. So it does give you some controls, and it does give you the soothing sounds if you want to use the earbuds to kind of relax or meditate or fall asleep. But this is other features we've seen in other 1More earbuds. But the huge thing here is the ability to switch between noise canceling on, the off mode, and then your transparency mode. But in noise canceling, you have different levels you can switch between. You have an adapt mode where it'll just kind of adapt to whatever your surroundings are. You have a wind noise mode, so if you just want to block out some wind, if you have a fan kind of blowing at you or if you're riding a bike. And then it has a mild and strong. And I can tell you that the strong mode gets eerily quiet. I mean, this is definitely where this compares to the Sony and the Bose that has some of the best noise canceling out there. And I honestly think that the strong mode kind of even gives you that like vacuum suction type feel. I mean, it really does isolate you from a lot of the sounds around you. Now, also with its active noise canceling, it is using 1More's Quiet Max technology. And what this is it's allowing the noise canceling to be used without having to overtake your audio. If you're used to using noise canceling products, usually when you switch the noise canceling on, it starts to make your audio sound kind of bloated. And although it does boost the bass just slightly on this pair, for the most part, there's not a huge audio difference between the noise canceling on and the noise canceling off. So that is another huge plus. Now, for you guys that do like to use more than one device at a time, 1More EVOs do have the dual device connection, which basically means that you can connect to your phone while also using your tablet or your laptop. That way you can watch a movie, but if somebody calls in on your phone, it's easy to just switch over and take that call without having to go into settings and shut things off and then switch things over. So again, this is another thing that I know a lot of you guys are interested in. Now, as far as using this pair outdoors, it does come in rated at IPX4, which means it's pretty much fine against splashes and sweat and rain and things like that. But this is not one of those pairs that you can dip or drop into water. Now, as far as what all they've included inside the box, they do give you 5 sets of silicone ear tips, and it is important that you get the right fit, especially with this pair being noise canceling. And they've also included a USB-C cable. But a huge plus, like I said earlier, this pair is Qi wireless charging compatible, so you can just come in, drop this pair on any wireless charger, and it will start charging. And speaking of the charging, the battery life on these is not the best compared to a lot of these other ones that we mentioned earlier. If you do decide to use these with the noise canceling off, you can actually get about 8 hours on the earbuds with around 28 hours using the case. But if you do decide to use these with the noise canceling on, that brings the battery life all the way down to 5.5 hours on the earbuds and about 20 hours using the case. Now, although I think that this battery life is going to be fine for most people, if you compare them to the Sonys, I think the Sonys definitely get maybe almost double what these give you. So that is something you might want to keep in mind. But the fast charge feature that's on this pair is very impressive. If you just happen to pick your earbuds up and they are dead, a 15-minute charge will give you 4 hours of use. And again, I think that is very impressive. I love when earbuds give you a long battery life that you can get just by plugging your device in for about 10-15 minutes. So that is definitely a huge plus for this pair. Now, moving over to looking at the case and the earbuds themselves, the case definitely has a premium feel to it. I would say it almost has like a metal or aluminum type feel, but it does have some good weight to it. On the back, you can see the USB-C input for charging, and then around on the front, you have that single indicator light, and this is what allows you just to kind of gauge how much battery life is left on the case. But when you open up the lid, you can see that the earbuds kind of have a glossy look right there where your touch controls are located. And the frustrating thing about the touch controls on here is they only allow you to kind of switch around a couple of things. You only get 2 different controls that you can switch between, and that's the double tap and triple tap. This pair does have a smart sensor, so basically what I did was I let it where it will pause and play when I take the earbuds out and put them back in. I changed my double tap to track control, and I changed my triple tap to volume control. That way I felt like I had control over everything, but I still would have liked to have had play and pause just on the earbuds themselves. Now, for you guys that like to use your earbuds for phone calls, 1More has 6 microphones total. There's 3 on each pair. And these are very impressive mics. I feel like no matter what environment you're in, it does a really good job of focusing in on your voice and blocking out a lot of your surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is the mic test using the 1More EVOs. And again, this is another area that I was very impressed with. I feel like it picks up my voice very clear. It does have a slight digital sound, but it's a lot less noticeable than it is in other earbuds. So this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is the mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound, because the sound out of the box, I felt like was rough. I mean, it sounded very dull, it sounded lifeless, and I've noticed that 1More has basically done this with all of their earbuds that work with the Sound ID feature, because once you go through the Sound ID test and it basically tries to give you an EQ setting based off what it thinks you like, there is a huge improvement over the sound out of the box to what it's giving you. And I think that maybe again to just sell you on what Sound ID is doing, because once I did that, it basically just pushed up everything. I mean, this was a very boomy pair. The bass had tons of impact, but it also still stayed very fast, which is important to me because I do listen to genres like metal. The mids definitely brought the vocalist right up front, so if I was listening to something chaotic, I didn't feel like the vocalist just got lost with everything else. And the treble definitely had a very bright sound to it. Now, I wouldn't say that it gets harsh. I would say that with some S's, you can kind of get that sibilant sound. And to me, it just gives it a really nice, bright, detailed sound where I still can get that very thick, punchy bass. So it just brings out the most in pretty much everything that you're listening to. But another thing that I thought was impressive with also getting this very dynamic sound, this is a very airy and spacious earbud. I mean, it just gives you tons of room. With the noise canceling on, it does close it in quite a bit. It makes you feel a lot more isolated from everything else. But with the noise canceling off, you really do have this very open feel and the ability to be able to tell where instruments and sounds and all these different things are coming from. This pair does a really good job with. So really my overall opinion is this, and again, this is not a review. I feel like it does lack because you can't change the EQ settings yourself like you can with the Sonys and some other earbuds. I really wish that they just gave you all of the controls on the earbuds so you didn't have to switch things around. But the fact that it does work with an app means that maybe they can fix this in an update. And it also means that maybe later they can add EQ options as well. But as it is out of the box, the app really just doesn't give you a whole lot that you can do. But honestly, there's not really a lot you're gonna wanna do. I do know that you're gonna wanna go in and switch around the noise canceling settings because you're not gonna want strong noise canceling all the time. Or you may just wanna block out wind, or maybe you just want it to block out a little bit. And I do like the fact that you can switch between these different settings. If you're looking for a premium pair of noise canceling earbuds, but you don't wanna pay, $280, almost $300, this is one of those pairs you might want to give a look. So guys, that wraps up my video on the 1More EVOs. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.